No one teaches us how to grow older. We learn how to study, how to work, how to succeed. But when the body slows down, when time feels closer instead of endless, when the mirror starts telling a different story, most people face it alone. Aging scares us, not because it hurts, but because it reminds us of something we try hard to forget. Nothing stays the same. If you've ever felt uneasy about getting older, if you've ever wondered where time went, or quietly feared becoming less visible in the world, this video understands what you're feeling. Not to fix aging, not to deny it, but to meet it with wisdom instead of fear. This video is about aging, but not the way society talks about it. In a modern world, aging often feels like a loss. Loss of beauty, loss of strength, loss of relevance, loss of time. We're taught to fight aging, hide it, or feel ashamed of it. Buddhist wisdom offers a very different view. It doesn't treat aging as a problem to solve. It treats it as a teacher. A quiet one, a patient one that speaks through time, change, and letting go. In this video, we'll explore 5 Buddhist lessons that help you age with calm, dignity, and deep inner peace. Not promises of happiness, not escape from reality, just a wiser way to live, right now, exactly as you are. Stay until the end, and you may notice something subtle shift. Not how old you feel, but how gently you relate to time itself. Lesson 1. Impermanence is not a threat, it's the truth. One of the first things Buddhism teaches is simple. Everything changes. Your body, your thoughts, your roles, your relationships. Nothing you experience stays fixed. This teaching is called anicca in Pali, or anitya in Sanskrit. It is one of the 3 marks of existence, lakkhana, fundamental characteristics that define all conditioned phenomena. We often hear this and feel uncomfortable because we don't want things to change, especially ourselves. Aging makes impermanence visible. Wrinkles appear, energy shifts, time feels different. But Buddhism doesn't say impermanence is bad. It says suffering comes from resisting it. When we cling to youth, we suffer. When we cling to how life used to be, we suffer. When we cling to an image of who we think we should remain, we suffer. The Buddha taught that all conditioned things are impermanent. Our bodies, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness all arise, change, and pass away. Aging hurts most when we treat change as a mistake. But what if aging is simply life continuing? Not a failure, not a decline, just movement. The ancient texts say, all conditioned things are impermanent. When we see this deeply, when we experience it directly rather than just understanding it intellectually, something profound happens. The mind begins to let go naturally, not because we force it, but because clinging to what cannot be held becomes absurd. Everyday reflection. Think about something that changed in your life. A job, a relationship, a season of happiness, a season of struggle. It changed, and yet you're still here. Impermanence didn't destroy you. It shaped you. Gentle question. What part of aging am I fighting right now instead of allowing? Sometimes peace begins not by fixing anything, but by stopping the fight. Lesson 2. Let go of the self that no longer exists. Much of our fear around aging comes from identity. We remember who we were. The younger version, the stronger version, the admired version, the busier version. And without noticing, we compare today to yesterday. Buddhism teaches that the self is not fixed. It's a process, a flow, a changing story. This is the teaching of anatta, non-self, or anatman in Sanskrit, the second mark of existence. The Buddha taught that there is no permanent, unchanging essence we can call me or mine. We are composed of 5 aggregates, skandhas. Form, our physical body. Feeling, sensations. Perception, recognition and identification. Mental formations, thoughts, volitions, emotions. Consciousness, awareness. Each of these is constantly changing. None of them constitutes a permanent self. Clinging to an old identity creates quiet suffering. You might think, I used to be more capable. I used to be more attractive. I used to matter more. But the self you're holding on to no longer exists. And that's not tragic. That's natural. Aging asks a gentle question. Who are you now if you stop chasing who you were? Wisdom grows when identity softens. When you stop proving yourself. When you stop measuring your worth by speed, appearance, or productivity. When you allow your value to come from presence instead of performance. Everyday example. A retired person may feel lost at first, not because life ended, but because an identity ended. When identity loosens, space opens. And in that space, listening deepens. Patience grows. Compassion becomes natural. Presence replaces performance. Gentle question. Who am I trying to keep alive, even though life has already moved on? Letting go doesn't erase you. It reveals a deeper version. Lesson 3. Suffering comes from comparison, not age. Aging feels heavy in the modern world because we compare constantly. We compare our bodies to younger ones, our energy to past years, our lives to curated images online. Buddhism points to a simple truth. Comparison feeds dissatisfaction. This is the third mark of existence, dukkha, often translated as suffering, but more accurately meaning unsatisfactoriness, stress, or the inability of conditioned things to provide lasting happiness. Age itself does not cause suffering. Comparison does. When you compare today to yesterday, you miss today. When you compare yourself to others, you abandon your own path. Aging is deeply personal. There is no correct timeline, no universal pace, no ideal version. Some people bloom later. Some soften earlier. Some carry wisdom quietly. Some express it outwardly. Buddhism encourages non-comparison, seeing life as it is, without measuring. The Buddha described the 8 worldly conditions, atha-lokadhamma, that all beings inevitably face. Gain and loss, honor and dishonor, praise and blame, pleasure and pain. Equanimity means remaining balanced through all of these. Not unmoved, not uncaring, but not thrown off center either. Everyday example. 2 people can be the same age. One feels bitter. One feels peaceful. The difference isn't age. It's how they relate to it. Gentle question. Who am I comparing myself to? And what does that comparison steal from this moment? Peace grows when comparison ends. Lesson 4. Aging reveals what truly matters. When time feels endless, we fill life with noise. When time feels precious, we become selective. Buddhism sees aging as a natural clarifier. You begin to care less about impressing others, proving yourself, chasing approval, accumulating excess, and more about meaningful connection, inner stability, kindness, presence. This is not loss. This is refinement. Aging strips away what doesn't serve the heart. Many people fear becoming smaller with age, but often life becomes simpler and truer. Less distraction, more depth. The Buddha taught that attachment to impermanent things causes suffering. As we age, we begin to see this more clearly, not as philosophy, but as lived experience. We learn, sometimes slowly, sometimes suddenly, that happiness doesn't come from having more, but from wanting less. That peace doesn't come from controlling life, but from meeting it as it is. Everyday example. Notice how older people often value quiet mornings, honest conversations, simple routines, being rather than doing. That's not giving up. That's wisdom emerging. Gentle question. What am I holding on to that no longer adds meaning to my life? Letting go creates room for what actually matters. Lesson 5. Acceptance is the doorway to peace. Buddhism does not ask you to like aging. It asks you to stop arguing with reality. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It means clarity. The Buddhist concept of upekkha, equanimity, one of the 4 divine abodes, Brahmaviharas, teaches us to cultivate a balanced mind. Not indifference, not detachment from caring, but freedom from being controlled by preferences. When you accept aging, you stop wasting energy resisting it. You meet life as it is. You respond with wisdom instead of fear. The Buddha described a mind filled with equanimity as abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. Acceptance brings a quiet dignity. You care for your body without obsession. You honor your limits without shame. You move at the pace life asks of you now. This is where peace lives, not in denial, not in control, but in alignment. Equanimity doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you're not ruled by what you feel. You can experience pain without being destroyed by it. You can experience joy without grasping at it. You remain stirred but not shaken. Everyday example. A person who accepts aging, rests without guilt, speaks honestly, lives more slowly, loves more deeply. Acceptance doesn't shrink life. It deepens it. Gentle question. What would change if I stopped resisting my age and started respecting it? Practical application and reflection. Here are gentle ways to apply these teachings starting today. 1. Relate to aging differently. Instead of asking, "How do I stay young?" ask, "How do I stay present?" Presence ages beautifully. 2. Respond to fear with curiosity. When fear of aging arises, don't suppress it. Ask, what is this fear trying to protect? Often, fear points to attachment, not danger. 3. Avoid common mistakes. Many people suffer because they tie worth to appearance, refuse to adapt, compare relentlessly, ignore inner growth. Awareness breaks these patterns gently. 4. Simple daily practices. Practice 1. Impermanence pause. Once a day, notice something changing. Your breath, the light, your mood. Acknowledge it without judgment. Simply note, this too is changing. Practice 2, identity softening. When you say, I am this, gently add, right now. It creates space for peace. It loosens the grip of fixed identity. Practice 3, equanimity reflection. When faced with the 8 worldly conditions, gain or loss, praise or blame, pleasure or pain, pause and remind yourself. All beings experience these. This is part of being human. Can I remain balanced? Aging is not life moving away from you. It is life moving through you. Each year adds texture. Each change adds depth. Each letting go makes room for wisdom. The Buddha taught that the path to freedom begins with seeing things as they truly are, impermanent, not self, and unsatisfactory when we cling. But when we stop clinging, when we meet life with open hands instead of grasping fists, something remarkable happens. We find peace, not because circumstances changed, but because we changed our relationship to them. If this video brought you calm or clarity, you can support it by liking the video. If aging has taught you something quietly, share it in the comments. Someone else may need your words. Subscribe for more Buddhist wisdom and gentle life guidance. And continue with another video on impermanence, mindfulness, or inner peace. And remember this: growing older is not losing time. It is learning how to live within it. It is discovering that the deepest freedom comes not from stopping change, but from dancing with it.